Hey friends, it's Len here at 1A Auto. Today we're going to be working on our 1996 Dodge Ram 1500, and I'm going to show you how to remove the power steering pressure and return lines. If you need any parts, check us out, 1aauto.com. Thanks. So now we're just going to break these lines free. I've been spraying these down for a while now, and of course they're very well lubricated. So hopefully nice. Okay, once we get this line off all the way, we'll do the same to the other one. Okay, so get the line off of here. We've got plenty of fluid coming out, so you want to make sure you have your collection bucket down there. Let this do its thing for a minute, and then we'll do the other line. This line right here, which is closest to us to get to right here, is the pressure line. This one goes up to your power steering pump. Okay, it's gonna have a little rubber gasket on it, right along there. We're gonna be replacing this hose anyway, so I'm not too worried about it, but if I wasn't, I would wanna make sure this is super clean and I replace that gasket. Generally speaking, you should have new rubber gaskets. They should come with the box, generally speaking. So when you're doing these lines, you're probably going to notice that I have the steering shaft off up here, right? And you're also going to notice that I have the pitman arm off right here. And you know, the box is disconnected down here from the frame. But none of that has to come off to be able to get to either of these lines on top of the box. You just use your 18mm wrench, or you can use crow's foot if it's easier for you. You can do that. And you just take off the line from down at the box. Like I said, the pressure line is the one closest to right here. And then the return line is going to be the one that's further towards the left side of the vehicle, which is a little bit deeper in to get to. So now I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to try to grab this return line. Do the same thing. Here we go. Okay. So this one, I can get it to move just like this, but the fitting itself, if you were looking at it, the fitting should spin on the line just like this. You can turn the fitting, but not the line. For the return line, it's stuck on there pretty darn good. We're going to be replacing this, but if you weren't, what you could do is spray that down with some penetrant, tap on the line with a small hammer, back and forth, and just try to break it free from the fitting. If that didn't work, you could also try applying a little bit of heat. Of course, if you apply heat, you want to be careful not to overheat your box. You know, don't use your torches or anything like that. You could use like a small butane, but that's pretty much it. And then of course you have to pay attention to what you're going to do to the fluid inside there when you do heat it up, because you know, when you heat up fluid like that, it's going to cause issues. So all stuff to keep in mind. It's a really short line. It just literally goes from here right over to your power steering cooler, gets cooled down, comes back this way, and then goes up that way and to your power steering pump right down over there. So with that said, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this off probably right here. I'll take it off right at the cooler, and then I'm going to replace this whole hose. So I followed my hose over, comes right here to the power steering cooler. I'm going to take off this clamp right here, use some pliers. Just going to grab it, squeeze it, pull it. There's our clamp. Now just grab this hose, try to give it just a teeny little wiggle, see if I can get it to break free from the cooler itself. Okay, if you can't, you could try using a pick. Just come right in through there. I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to use our pick, and imagine that this line right here is this line, okay? What you would do is you would just take your pick, go right along the metal, and in between the metal and the hose, try to go right inside just like that, and then work it around the metal so it goes in between the hose and the metal. If you want to use a little bit of penetrant, you can go ahead and do that. So you're just going to go right like this, slide it in there. I can move it around a little bit. Just a little bit, a lot of times will do it. Once you get some penetrant working its way in there, it's pretty much the end, and then you can just grab it. Oh yeah, look at that. Broke right free. So I'm just going to pull a little bit as I do this. Fluid, of course, is going to come out, so we've got our collection bucket ready. And here we go. So I'm just taking out these little plugs just to make sure that there's nothing we don't want inside the holes in that box. That one looks really good. So I'm just gonna put that back in just a little bit. If you have a hard time getting these out, sometimes they're super hard to get out by hand, you could try using some pliers. Pliers would come in handy. That looks pretty good though. Just leave that in there a little bit. Now I'm gonna grab my, my new return hose. We'll get that one in there, snug it up, connect it in over here, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so I took a little bit of power steering fluid here. I'm just gonna put it on our O-ring. And then this ring goes right on our line. That looks pretty great. You wanna make sure that you have it lubricated. This is gonna go into our steering box, and then we're gonna tighten this up, and that rubber O-ring is gonna make the seal. So we're gonna take our return line, just bring it right up here. We'll take out our little cover. We're gonna use that on our old box once we drain it out. That's just gonna help make sure that no extra fluid comes out and, you know, makes a mess during transport to its recycling center. So we'll get that there. This is gonna come right over here to our steering cooler. If yours is too long, you can go ahead and trim it down. This one looks like it's fairly decent, but I do want a clamp, so I'm gonna grab a clamp, and I'm gonna use a nice new clamp because, well, why not? So I'll grab a clamp, and we'll put that on. We have our return hose, our new clamp, slide it on there, slide it onto the cooler, slide the clamp down so it's close to the end of the hose, but you still have a good maybe 1/8 to 1/4 inch, and you still make sure that you have plenty of the cooler coming all the way down. It comes down to about where my finger is, so that's pretty much exactly where you want it. Okay, that feels pretty snug right there. I'm not going to go any further. If you can take your hose and you can spin it still, it's too loose. This feels really good. We'll tighten up that end. This should go all the way like that. Pretty much so it's right up against the box, and then we can maneuver it after. I'm gonna grab a little bit longer of a wrench so I can snug that up. Just snug that up. That feels great. The line cannot spin. We know we're doing good. Now you just wanna come under, and you wanna check right along where the line runs next to the box. If it's pressed right up against it, just take something as simple as a pry bar or a screwdriver, put it in there, and just kinda give it a little bend, okay? Just enough so it's not touching anywhere. Anywhere it's touching, with every little vibration going down the road, it's gonna cause a rub. Next thing you know, you're gonna have a hole in your power steering line. That would be very bad. So we took a little bit of parts cleaner and we cleaned up the area here because it was just full of gunk. And now we can see very clearly, we have our line here, we have our fitting. It's a 16mm nut on there. So I'm just gonna get my wrench on there. I'm coming from the back side of the differential. It gives me a pretty good view of what's going on here. My wrench on there, turn it counterclockwise. There it is. I'm just gonna get this line all the way out of here, and then we can replace it. I'm just gonna try to get this the rest of the way by hand since it's nice and loose. More fluid's gonna come out, I'm sure. So it's time to get the line out of here. I'm just gonna work it down. That out of there. And here, my friends, is our power steering pressure line. Okay, friends, let's take a look here. We just want to make sure we've got the same bends. We've got this nice sharp bend right here, and it comes scooping around. Sharp bend, scooping around, very nice. Right here, it's kind of like a squared off end. The other end, squared off. Comes with brand new gaskets, which is super important. You can't install a line without brand new gaskets. Doesn't make any sense. So, I don't see any reason why we shouldn't install it. So I've got some power steering fluid. Just put them all over these little rubber O-rings here. Make sure they're nice and coated. You want to make sure that they're lubricated. That way there, when you slide them over the line, they don't tear. And also when you're putting them into the box or the pump, they don't tear when they touch that metal as well. Those look really great. I'd say we can continue and install this into the vehicle. It's time to carefully get our line up in there. I'm just gonna go up like this. It came around the backside of this line. So we'll just get it up in there. Awesome. Bring that around. Very cool. Get this hose a little twist. Sometimes they can be kind of a pain in the butt to get started in, but you can do it. I have faith in you. Very nice. Awesome. Okay. So that one started in there pretty good. Let's snug it up. Just make sure that that's nice and snug. Once you know it's snug, you continue on to the next line, which is this one right here. We're going to take this cap out of here. Set that aside so we can use it. Now we're going to get this hose lined up on here. Should come around like this. So we've got our line in and started. You'll notice that the way it goes from the pump, goes up and out that way, goes all the way over towards the driver's side, comes down and around, down through here, then it comes along the top of the box, comes out this way and then down. If you set it up a different way, it might come around this way and get caught up against your fan. So you need to pay special attention to that, okay? If you have it going the wrong way, you want to make sure that it's not going to hit up against your fan, your belt, your power steering pump, all sorts of things. Just put it going the right way, okay? We'll snug this up. Let's get our longer wrench on here now. Just make sure it's snug. There it is. You just want to make sure that your line can't still pivot around. It's going to move around a little bit, but it shouldn't be able to pivot inside that fitting. That feels really good. We'll just make sure that it's not hitting anywhere against the box. I'm just gonna pry that away just a little bit right along here. I can feel that it's super close. If I go like this, I can hear a ticking. Perfect. I'm not hitting against the box anymore. Any place that you have rubbing, it's gonna cause an issue down the road because every vibration and bump you hit, it's gonna cause a little bit of wear on this metal, and that's going to cause a leak. That feels good. Let's continue.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1AAuto.com for quality auto parts shipped to your door, the place for DIY auto repair. And if you enjoyed this video, please click the subscribe button.